Now,
but I didn't do that.
is there a point that you have to tell your parents what's going on?
Yeah, I think that happens while I'm going through after the trial. So what happens is I'm arrested, I'm locked inside of detention centers, and from the day of my arrest, the woman that I was married to, well, understandably, decides that. Well, she was with me, I think, through the trial. Yeah, so it wasn't until I was. So I'm in what's called pre-trial custody for a year in jail, and facing life without parole. And I go through trial, and I'm convicted at trial. That's when I have a life-changing moment, as I realize I've really made some bad decisions. Really, my parents are humiliated. My grandparents don't speak with me. I'm on the cover of the newspaper, and I'm embarrassed because I'd made every bad decision a kid could make. First of all, uh, lacking the good character as a child to mature into a good person. Selling drugs. When I get caught selling drugs, don't take responsibility but lie and go to trial, even though I know I'm guilty. And I have this epiphany because I started. I won't turn this into a religious program, but I mean, you're in a jail cell, you start praying, and I'm not asking God to get me out because I know I'm not going to get out. I'm convicted. That ship has sailed. It's more along the lines of, give me the strength to get through this. And that prayer led me to what I needed at that moment. And it led me to a philosophy book. That's not too far from your area of the world, Albania. I actually started reading a Greek philosopher, Socrates.
Okay, so you pick up Socrates. Why out of all the, how did that even pop into your mind? Socrates.
Well, I will say that I was praying, and now I'm afraid. Now I know I did wrong. Now I'm convicted. Now my whole strategy I can see was just a stupid strategy. Every step of it was stupid. And I realized that my lawyer gave me really bad guidance by telling me to go to trial, by telling me I could win. Because by then I had seen, dozens of people testifying against me. And it was pretty clear that the jury was going to believe them and not believe me.
How many people cooperated against you?
I can't remember now, but I would say at least 10, probably. That's 10 people that had direct relationships with me.
Yeah, that'll make you a
selling.
King. That'll make you a kingpin.
Okay, at least 10. But besides those 10, the government probably put on 50 witnesses because they would put on bankers that would talk about money I deposited. They would put on people that I rented condominiums from, that I would give them, $25,000 or $30,000 in cash to pay for the condo rent in advance, and that's just not a normal thing that somebody would do. So that's evidence. It didn't occur to me the way that they could easily build a case against me. So I was convicted, and when I saw all of that, I'm in the jail cell, and I'm just reflecting, my God, I've really put myself in a bad situation, and I wanted to get better. And that's when I started to pray. And that was those prayers that I will say led me to that philosophy book, because I would have never picked up a philosophy book. So there's a bookshelf, right, in prison, and I'm praying every day and every night, God, give me strength, help me through this. I know I'm going to prison now. I don't know how long. I know I'm going to prison.
There's a slogan that they say, through despair comes enlightenment.
Yeah. And I agree with that. It brings a clarity of thought. For me, it did. It doesn't for everybody. I was blessed to asking God, give me what I need right now to get through this. And so when I'm looking through this bookshelf, I see these two books called The Treasury of Philosophy. And they're big books. They're heavy books. At that time, I don't know how to spell philosophy. I certainly don't know what it means, but they're calling to me. These are the books that you need right now. And I pick those two books up. I take them to my cell and I start reading. And when I read the story of Socrates, he's in jail facing his execution. And that's the only reason I read that story, because I could identify with him. Wow. He's in jail. I'm in jail. Let me see what I can learn from him. And that book changed the way that I thought.
And think about how old that book is, huh?
Yeah, that's a relevant point. It's 2,500 years ago, but it also shows me that as human beings, we all go through struggle and we all go through challenges and trying times, but there's always a way through. And we need to look at those people who understood how to get through struggle and recalibrate to become better. And we all can follow that path.
So those 4 months you're in there, you're reading. I think philosophy, definitely probably a very important subject. I wish I would have paid attention more in college. I cut a lot of classes in school. I'm not going to lie. Hope my kid doesn't watch this, but he probably will. But I did do really well in school, right? I mean, I achieved what I wanted to, but that's not the point. You see, a grade doesn't mean you learned something. Just because you got an A, you studied real quick, it doesn't mean you absorb the information like when you want to read something and you want to learn something. And I can agree with you. I think philosophy, when you read Socrates and Nietzsche and all these different people, you really you can start taking your mind to places it never went before, thinking in different ways and seeing things from a different perspective. That's the beauty of reading that I don't think a lot of young people appreciate. They look at it like a punishment. Man, I got to study. Man, I got to read. Where I look at it now, I wish I had the time to read as much as I want to read, because it really does impact your life. And the most successful people in the world, when we look at them, they read even now. They're billionaires and all they do is read.
And now it's easier, because even if you don't, and we live in a different era, right, where we're busy and we're always on the move and we can make excuses that we don't have time to read. But now you can listen and learn on audiobooks while you're driving. You could be reading and consuming. You could be listening to stories of people overcoming adversity. You could be listening to The Comeback Team and hearing stories of people that have gone through challenges and struggles and say, well, what lessons can I take from that story and that message and put it into my life, right? You can pursue that path of learning and growing, or you can choose to keep up with the Kardashians. I mean, we all make a choice, and we choose whether we want to grow and become stronger and more enlightened, or we choose to pursue a path of glitter without recognizing that all that glitter is not gold. And the gold is in the message that we get from leaders like Socrates. Thanks, brother.